Humanity entered the age of goo. Anyone could open a goo jar by sacrificing years of their life. Some people got insanely lucky, cracking open a spring-autumn goo that could reverse time itself. Others pulled a sword immortal goo and instantly became untouchable. But you, born as humanity's last spark in your past life, stumbled across a weird, colorless goo jar that cost nothing to open. The second you cracked it open, a crimson goo worm drilled straight through your skull. You, a 7th-tier powerhouse, got one-shotted by a mysterious goo worm. When you came to, you realized you'd been reborn 30 years in the past. You immediately suspected your rebirth was connected to that worm. The only goo with time powers was the spring-autumn goo, also called the spring-autumn cicada. But the spring-autumn goo isn't red. Right then, you felt a sudden jolt in your chest. You quickly checked your body and found a worm sitting right on your heart. The same crimson, eerily unsettling goo worm. System: Lifespan Gumu. Rank: Mythic. Tier 1, Tier 2 requirement: 1,000 years of lifespan. Ability: Devour Lifespan. Hearing that, your heart nearly stopped. This was the legendary Lifespan Goo, on par with the Fortune Goo, Fate Goo, and Spring Autumn Goo, one of the top 23 goo in the world. Not a single person in your past life ever owned one. Legend says whoever controls Lifespan controls infinite life. In a world where opening goo jars cost years of your life, owning the Lifespan Goo means owning everything. But you didn't have time to celebrate, because in 2 months this entire city was going to be wiped out. The whole world was about to spiral into chaos. Just then a group of beggars came walking toward you. The second you saw them, memories from your past life came flooding back. In your last life, the campus queen Liu Ruyan framed you for secretly taking photos of her, getting you expelled and thrown out of the dorms. You had no choice but to take your white goo jar and hide out in this alley. These beggars saw you were just a student and wasted no time stealing your white goo jar. Then they beat you half to death. If a passerby hadn't stepped in, you would have died right there on the street. Staring at these beggars, you flashed a sinister smile. The debt you racked up in my last life, you'll pay it back with your lives this time. You pulled the goo jar out of your pocket. The number 10 was carved into it, meaning it cost 10 years of your life to open. But right as you were about to open it, a pop-up suddenly appeared in front of you. Tier 1 Flame Goendu's rank, white, after bonding, grants fire control, no risk. Your heart skipped a beat. Was this a preview system for the goo jar? Your chest tightened. If this was real, that was a total jackpot. To test it, you didn't hesitate where you opened it right then and there. And the moment you touched the jar, next second the jar exploded in a blinding white light. Standing on the base was a fiery red goo worm, like a living flame, radiating intense heat. It was the flame goo. You were ecstatic. The preview was real. The burst of white light instantly caught the beggars' attention. Their eyes turned cold as they circled you, weapons in hand. The leader sneered, "Hand over the goo worm, or we'll cave your skull in." You just gave a cold laugh. Same old story. These guys never change. In the next instant, your overwhelming mental energy surged into the goo worm. The head beggar panicked. "That's bad. He's bonding with it. Stop him, or we're all dead." The beggars freaked out, grabbing their weapons and rushing at you. At this point, they had one goal: kill you. But watching them, it felt like everything was in slow motion. With the mental energy of a 7th-tier powerhouse, you could take them all out even without a goo worm. And on top of that, you'd already successfully bonded with one. A pillar of scorching fire shot into the sky. You blazed like a human torch, your whole body engulfed in flames. Your mental energy was running on overdrive. You swung your hand, and the flames swallowed them whole. The beggars trapped in the fire screamed and begged for mercy, crying out in agony. "Please don't kill me. We'll never do it again." Hearing that, you just wanted to laugh. In your past life, you begged too, handed over the jar willingly, and still got beaten half to death. It didn't take long before every last one of them burned alive. You walked over to the pile of bodies and activated the Lifespan Goo. Faint green threads drifted out of the corpses and absorbed into your body. Successfully absorbed 110 years of lifespan. You were satisfied with that number. 8 beggars and that much lifespan. No wonder it's one of the top 23 Goo. Normally, a Goo Master who wants to gain lifespan has to bond with a special life worm. It takes forever and drains your energy. Nothing compared to the Lifespan Goo. You thought for a moment and remembered the Evolution Goo in the Goo Jar Shop. If you could get the Evolution Goo, you could hit 4th tier master within 2 months. The Evolution Goo is a legendary tier worm, ranked number 88 in the Goo worm rankings. It has the power to evolve other Goo worms. With a bit of luck, it could evolve your Flame Goo into something far stronger. But right now, the most important thing was finding a place to stay. You checked into a 3-star hotel. After a hot shower, you felt completely refreshed. You flipped on the TV and it was showing global news. You didn't remember much from this era. Time to get caught up. A creature resembling the legendary Loch Ness Monster, capable of controlling the weather, was spotted in Europe. A 6th-tier water-type Goo Master went to investigate and is now missing. A strange zone appeared in the Bermuda Triangle. Overnight, an underground ancient city rose up from beneath the water. Mount Fuji in Japan showed signs of eruption. Someone spotted a terrifying, ferocious flame beast at the crater. 72 suspected tombs of Chow Chow appeared across China. Entry conditions: unknown. You watched the news, deep in thought. Every single one of these spots was an extreme danger zone in your past life. But Chow Chow's 72 tombs, that was a massive opportunity. All 72 would activate simultaneously in 6 months. But only one of them was real, the one that could actually wake Chow Chow. The Goo Masters who entered the tombs back then chose not to wake him, letting Chow Chow sleep on. Because no one dared to gamble. No one knew if his return would be a blessing or a disaster. But you knew, Chow Chow's revival would protect China. China's gifted young generation wouldn't be wiped out before they could rise. Thinking that, a smirk crept onto your face. Time to let the old boss come out and play. To get the blue-grade evolution goo from the shop, you decided to first go recover a small opportunity from your past life. During a desperate escape in your last life, you accidentally found a green goo jar buried under an old tree on the outskirts of Silver River City. Market value, 100,000 silver coins. With that seed money and your preview ability, making cash was going to be easy. Pulling a million coin blue goo jar? Piece of cake. So there you were, fresh out of the shower, still in the hotel bathrobe, walking out the door as the front desk stared at you in disbelief. Passing a small alley, you spotted a familiar face, Li Leng, from the Cleaner Corps. The Cleaner Corps was an official org that cleared out monsters and beasts invading the city. In your past life, he was the one who saved you in that alley. Running into your lifesaver again, of course you had to go say hi. Hey, Captain Lee, good evening. In a great mood tonight, huh? Out here killing people at night? Poor little beggars, rough way to go. Li Leng turned around, his eye twitched. Just go home, there are some rogue goo masters lurking around here. With your 7th tier mental energy masking your presence, Li Leng couldn't sense any goo worm aura from you, and didn't suspect a thing. Got it, Captain Lee, I'm heading back right now. Once you were far enough away, you started muttering to yourself, Rogue Goo Master? Your whole family are Rogue Goo Masters. The outskirts were outside Silver River City's safe zone. There was a real chance of running into monsters out there. You thought it over and decided to power up your Flame Goo first. A Tier 1 Flame Goo was pretty common. Not super strong, not super weak. So the Tier 2 requirements were simple. Just 10 years of lifespan. In general, unless you'd already locked in your goo worm's evolution path, most people wouldn't bother evolving a low-tier worm. First, the Tier 2 boost on a low-tier worm just wasn't that impressive. Second, lifespan was precious. No one wanted to spend it on a worm they'd throw away later. But lifespan was just a number to you. You still had 121 years in the bank. More than enough. You opened the stats panel and hit Evolve. 10 years of lifespan drained and flowed into the Flame Goo. The Flame Goo suddenly erupted in a burst of intense firelight. Its flames grew hotter, and a fire pattern slowly etched itself onto its back. Tier 2 Flame Goo Evolution. Success. You scanned it with your mental energy and nodded in approval. The boost wasn't huge, and it didn't unlock any new abilities, but the flame intensity had doubled. An hour later, you finally stood beneath the old tree from your past life memories. Back then, you'd stumbled here while running for your life. Over 30 years had passed. You'd long forgotten exactly where the jar was buried. You circled the tree and spotted a patch of soil that looked off, like it had just been dug up. You tried digging there, and sure enough, you pulled out a green goo jar. Same one from your past life. You were a little confused. Had it just respawned here? You didn't overthink it. You focused your gaze on the green goo jar. A second later, a preview popped up. This jar contains a Tier 1 Stealth Goo. After evolution, it grants the ability to turn invisible. Your heart was racing. A green goo jar rolling a blue quality worm, and not just any worm, a Stealth Goo, one of the rarest out there. Even in blue goo jars, getting a Stealth Goo was incredibly rare. On the market, one goes for at least 5 million silver coins, and that's if you can even find a seller. Thinking about how you sold it in your past life for a measly 100,000 silver coins, you wanted to slap yourself. Without a second thought, you spent 100 years of lifespan to open it. A burst of blue light exploded from the jar. A semi-transparent goo worm stood at the center. But just as you were about to bond with it, "That's mine, I just buried it. I stepped away to take a leak, and you already dug it up?" That's when it hit you. This jar wasn't wild. No wonder the dirt looked freshly turned. The big guy was glaring at you, fuming. Around his waist coiled an enormous centipede, the Celestial Centipede Goo. Your brow furrowed. The Celestial Centipede Goo, blue-grade combat type, packing deadly venom. Among blue-tier goo worms, its raw power was top tier. And from the looks of it, this one was at Tier 3. A Tier 3 Celestial Centipede Goo could summon a centipede avatar. Insane combat power. If it came to a fight, your Flame Goo would get absolutely destroyed. You rubbed the back of your head awkwardly. This was just a coincidence. You believe me, right? You felt like a thief caught red-handed. The big guy obviously wasn't buying it. He glared daggers and snapped, "Coincidence? Are you serious right now?" "Tell me, Rick, how long have you been tailing me?" The big guy was radiating killing intent. If your mental energy wasn't masking your power level, he'd have already made a move. You just forced a smile. It really was just a coincidence.